Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. It's time for another action figure review here on the channel, and as you can see on the screen right now, today's installment, we're going to be taking a closer look at the G.I. Joe Classified Series Dreadnok Torch figure. So stick around, I'm going to give you all the ups and downs, ins and outs that you need to know about this figure, so that if you're thinking of picking one up for yourself, you'll have a good, lump of info to make your decision about, is this the right figure for you to drop your cash on? Going to talk over the packaging experience, then talk about the figure and its aesthetic and the visual experience, then take a walk through the articulation, and finish up with a little bit of chat about the accessories and added value. And with all that said and done, you should have plenty then to make your decision if you're sitting on the fence about Torch. So let's get into it, and let's jump back in time to a couple of days ago when Torch first arrived on my doorstep. I cracked open the box and had a bit of a chat about what's going on with the packaging. All right, see you in a sec. Okay, folks, well, here he is. Torch has arrived, just dropped on my doorstep here at MoDXtra Games and Collectibles Towers. So let's have a quick chat about the packaging experience, the peg presents, if you will, and then I'll go away and get that cracked open and offer up some review thoughts. So it's in the new G.I. Joe Classified Series design. I don't know how much longer I can call it new, but I'll stick with it for now, with the kind of carbon fibre style motif in there, with the window obviously showing off the figure and all the goodies. Cobra characters, got the Cobra symbol on there, some usual Hasbro legal warnings and such like, so that's nice for the window fans. Then on the back we can see that it's 123 in the line, got the digital render piece of artwork there, cans of grape soda everywhere, a cold slither band practice room with a motorbike being repaired in the background, a couple of breakout windows with a few key features highlighted, like the studs on the back of his leather vest and the graffiti marks on his fuel tanks there. This is the import sticker. I use an independent retailer over here who imports their stock. Big shout out to In-Demand Toys. Got all the legal bollocks and malarkey across the bottom. And then, of course, we've got the data card. So let's take a moment to learn a little bit more about Torch together, folks. All legitimate, go look it up. This is all good, solid comic book and cartoon lore about the character Torch here, as indicated by this little data card, these little data card replacement symbol things, and it looks like all of these are in acknowledgement of Torch's more entrepreneurial spirit, because they're all in relation to sideline businesses that he operates to make a little bit of cash on the side. So this first one here with the money, with the bones, you might interpret that to be mercenary or a assassin, murderer for money, but that's not the case at all. That's actually the logo on the side of the van for his dog sitting and cleaning business, and every customer, every canine customer that he has gets a free bone to take away. That's like his little, extra gift, customer gift type thing. Then we've got this flame symbol here. Again, you might think that's because he's Torch and he uses a flamethrower in combat, but that's not the case at all. In fact, part of his entrepreneurial sideline businesses is an oven repair business. In fact, that's what the little spanner and screwdriver is here as well. These two are connected. So he goes around the local area, helps out all the old dears when their ovens break, can't afford to buy a new one, so he goes out and fixes them up. He's actually, very nice, kind and generous in that respect. Offers excellent prices. And then this one here, the third one along, is a castle. Again, you might think it represents his kind of defensive stance in combat or something like that. But no, his third and final sideline business is a bouncy castle business. Hires himself out at weekends. He's got a selection of novelty bouncy castles, takes them to parties, entertains the kids. Nice cash-in-hand business there, so the taxman doesn't know anything about it. And this is his most popular, the traditional look castle. So there you go. Likes to make a bit of money on the side, does Torch. Continuing the little tour of the packaging, we've got the artwork here on one of the sides. It's this kind of painted artwork there, which is really lovely. I love these. Very expressive and dynamic piece of artwork, so always pleased to see those. And then the other side's got the data card again, the pointless QR code that I haven't zapped in ages, and kind of sepia version of the artwork on the other side. So, yeah, there you go. So there we go, folks. There's the packaging experience. I'm going to go away now and crack this bad boy open, get him posed up, get some good solid man-child playtime in. I'll give it a few days, have him as my little desk buddy here, and I'll come back with some review thoughts in a little while. So stick around, because future Chris will be back with you in 3, 2, 1. Okay, folks, here's Torch as he came out of the packet. And it's time to do the review section now and talk about the aesthetic qualities, the visual experience with Torch. Certainly a lot to like in there. A couple of things I'm less keen on, but overall the visual impact of the character is great. Lovely shelf presence on him. Just take a good, soak that in with your eyeballs, folks, that head-to-toe look of the figure. And but clearly very vintage inspired. Other than a few minor touches, it's got all the key visual identifying features that you associate with the vintage figure, or the Sunbow cartoon, or the old Larry Hammer comic books. Got all the kind of key features there. A few bits have been changed up because of reuse. A few bits have been changed up for some classifiedization, like modern reinterpretation of it. But overall, the full-on visual experience of the figure is a positive one. Love it. And he looks great with the other Dreadnoks. I'll show you that later. Bringing Torch a bit nearer to the camera, we can get in close to conduct a finer inspection of these little attention to detail bits that really give the character some depth and really give it some, character and personality, some texture, all that good stuff. Starting with the head sculpt, excellent head sculpt, as always with G.I. Joe Classified. It's a bit of vanilla, nondescript facial expression, but that's fine. Torch, I always seem to recall him having a bit more of a kind of stoic look about him. Or not, I don't know. But anyway, it works. But the sculpting of the facial hair, the big handlebar stash, and the massive mutton chops, all really nicely sculpted. Got good quality paint applications across the facial hair, across the sunglasses, across the headband there, which is nice to see. All the contour details in the hair. I like the paint application in particular on the shades, that little kind of shiny red metallic-y kind of look. Gives it a little bit of character, a bit of personality, which I am a fan of. Then moving a bit further down into the figure, you can see lots of other finely sculpted details as well to give it more depth to. The choker with the individual spikes painted in the metallic silver there. The leathery effect of his little leather waistcoat there. The sculpted details of the chains and the little skulls that are featuring, like his little bird skull around his neck and the skulls on the chains there. Bit of paint applications on the buckles too, across the middle there and across the zips as well. Love it when we get all those extra little bits and bobs just to really bring it to life. Same again here on the armband. Nice leathery texture look with the paint applications on the spikes. And speaking of spikes, check these on his back. Every single one of them with an individual paint application. Love it, love it, love it. Got the flame tattoos here on his arms, on his forearms, and around by the wrists on both sides there. You can see on this arm too. And then the little flame motif. Getting in focus there. Little flame motif, couple of patches there on his arse cheek pockets of his jeans too. Another little splash of colour to give it some more depth, more texture, and of course give the character some additional personality that's on brand for, Torch's thing. Less keen on these wrist chains. They're a bit plasticky. They've not, in amongst all this lovely metallic paint applications that they've applied across all the other chains, such as the ones across the edges of his jacket and his belt, which I've not mentioned yet. We've got then these plasticky wrist chains. The sculpt of them is good, and the sort of drape and design with this little bit hanging down here is really nice. But this grey plasticky colour stands out against the more kind of shiny, silvery, metallic look of the other chains and adornments there. So even though I like the sculpt and the idea, the implementation is a bit off with the plastic look of them. But talking of the belt again, just a great piece of sculpting work. The chain across the belt there, just kind of completing that look. The belt buckle is sculpted, another skull there, but also appreciate the little paint applications over the belt loops at the top. And then carrying on down into the body, we've got that denim-y texture detail in the jeans, that leathery texture detail present in the holsters, and then the leathery texture detail present in the boots. Speaking of the boots, I've definitely seen around and about in the community a few folks who are not so happy with the boots. They're obviously reused from Dr. Mindbender there. They've got a little bit of a kind of Blue Oyster Cult vibe to them. So I totally get it, totally understand. I'm not the biggest fan necessarily myself. The vintage figure, or some versions of the vintage figure, I seem to remember had the tall boots going up to the knee, but without this little kind of flappy bit at the front there. I think that's the bit that kind of takes it over the S&M edge. You know what I mean? I also seem to remember in the comic book, he was more, there was a bit of brown involved Again, I've not checked that before I've opened my mouth on a hot mic, so let me know in the comments down below if I'm way off the mark. But and I'm kind of indifferent about them myself, but they do have, yeah, they do have a little bit of a Blue Oyster Club vibe about them. I can understand why some folks are not so keen. I'm also a little disappointed that, again, all this great paint application and all the various details up top here, they've got the buckles all painted in, but they've not done the buckles across the front of the boot. However, aside a couple of little pieces here and there that I'm less pleased with, overall the experience is solid. Overall, Torch is offering me what I wanted, which was that, that nostalgia-inspired yet classified, reinterpreted figure with the extra touches. So it's a thumbs up from me, definitely. I like it, and he fits in really well with that rough and ready biker gang vibe that the other Dreadnoks are giving off as well. So very pleased. Okay, so there you go. That's the aesthetic qualities. That's the visual experience. Let's now take a quick walk through the articulation. Okay then, folks, well, as usual, because it's standard G.I. Joe Classified Series articulation scheme on Torch here, you can head on down to the description down below and use the timestamps to skip forward to the accessories and added value if you're not interested. However, if this is the first G.I. Joe Classified Series review you've ever watched, or you're interested to know if there's any particular articulation quirks, then stick around. I'm going to walk you through the articulation. I'm going to start at the head. We've got the ball in the base of the head, ball at the base of the neck, gives fairly decent down, pretty decent up, all the way around, full 360 X-assist, and then some swivelly, tilty stuff going on there. So that's all good and dandy. Heading down into the torso, we've got the butterfly joint there. It's okay. The range of movement's not fantastic. I don't think it's because of the jacket. It's just a bit crunchy. Then we've got the hinge and the peg there, giving you the full 360 swivel and the hinge out to the T-shape. Swivel here at the top of the bicep and tricep. Pinless double elbow that will get you up to there. I felt like that double elbow range isn't as good as I've encountered with other G.I. Joe Classified Series figures before. Then the standard pegged in hands, giving you the swivel in the socket, and then they've both got hinges going up and down like so. In the main body there, we've got an ab crunch and a ball joint at the waist. The ab crunch is nicely disguised by the jacket and the clasp at the front of the jacket, but it gives you a good up forward, good back there, and you got all the swivelly, rotatey movement there in the waist. He's a little bit loose though in that waist ball. You see that? Got a bit of the old Firefly syndrome going on. Moving down into the legs, standard drop down joint in the groin, giving you good solid forward. Excellent Russian ballet splits out and fairly alright back, but as usual it's restricted by the curve of the arse cheek. Swivel there at the top of the thigh, nicely disguised by the straps on the holsters, the thigh holsters. Pinless double knee that'll get you up to there. Swivel here at the top of the boot line, and then the standard hinge and rocker in the ankles. So it's a thumbs up on articulation. Good, solid, classic G.I. Joe Classified Series articulation. No particular obstructions or restrictions with regards to his, his outfit or anything getting in the way. So it's good all round. Just a little bit of QC there with the wobbly waist, which I'll put a few drops in to tighten that up. So overall, very good. Excellent. Okay, well, there's the articulation then. Now let's take a look at the accessories and added value. And let's start this section by taking a look at the main event as far as Torch is concerned, which is his flamethrower little setup with the fuel tanks on the backpack, the flamethrower itself, and the little pipe to attach it. And let's start with the weapon itself. So a fairly simple sculpt. It's got a kind of, kind of World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War style kind of OG flamethrower vibe about it, but with the added embellishment of the skull with the flames bursting out the eyes on the front to dreadnok it up, which is nice. Single piece of plastic in the main body of the weapon with a few sculpted details in there, and then different colour plastic on the skull, and obviously the translucent flame effect on the eyes. Love this little touch. I think that's a really excellent piece of kind of personality thrown in there for a bit of storytelling, a bit of visual flair, which is nice. The weapon itself is suffering from the G.I. Joe gummy weapon problem. Bit weebly warbly there, which is a bit of a shame. When I've been trying to get him to hold it in certain ways, the bend is, you get this little slight bend on it that makes it look a bit uncanny, which is a shame because overall I like the concept a great deal. Then you have the backpack here with the fuel canisters on it, which is nice. Big old fat fuel canisters at the back there, and then this yellow one on the front. Love a paint application on a backpack to give it a bit of personality and character. And then we've got these paint applications with what appears to be like a kill count with some skulls, and then a bit of graffiti there. Nox rule, open to debate still as to whether that's just Torch's illiteracy that's resulted in that misspelling or a mistake on Hasbro's part. But yeah, got all the nice sculpted details in there. We've got the little peg here to attach the hose to, which goes on like so. And then we've got a little clip here at the bottom of the backpack. Oh, pick that back up again, which you can clip the torch, the flamethrower. Torch is the character onto like so. This is not great. It's a bit loosey-goosey. I'm finding myself knocking that off a lot like that when I'm posing him up and trying to do some things. But the idea is sound. It's just not quite the clampiest of fits. Then the other end of the torch fits on like so. The cable, we've seen this before. This is featured several times in G.I. Joe Classified. It's fine, sculpted. It's got a nice bit of flexibility. I actually wish it was a bit shorter and a bit more flexible. When Torch is holding the weapon, it's sort of a bit awkward because of the way it's attached on the side here like this. I've just thrown it on him there quickly. I've not particularly finessed it, but you can kind of see what I mean. See how it sort of, I'd rather it hung down a bit. It had a bit more, I don't know what the word is, flexibility in it, looseness, so it hung down a little bit. It's also a real pain when you clip it on the back of the backpack. I'm not a big fan of that, sticking out the side there like that when you put the flamethrower clamped in at the bottom of the backpack with it sticking out the side. And as far as I could tell, I've examined it pretty closely, but please do let me know if I'm missing something. There's nowhere to detach that tube and put it somewhere else on the backpack. As far as I can tell, anyway, I'm possibly missing something, so please do let me know if I am. Then we get a selection of cool flame effects to use here. They peg into the end of the flamethrower. This one is the long flame blast. Definitely got flamethrower vibes there. I like the sculpt detail as the flame is sort of wisping out with the concentration across the bottom there in the translucent getting stronger and more opaque as you get towards the mouth barrel, the mouth of the skull, the barrel of the flamethrower. That's obviously what I was thinking of there. Then we got one that's more of like a kind of fireball effect there. Again, nicely sculpted, interesting piece. Give you a little bit of variety to your storytelling when you're posing them up with that. And then we got like a kind of little resting poofy bit coming out the end there for when it's not in use. And these just peg into the barrel like so. You can see there's the jet effect one. There's the fireball-y one. And then there's your little resting poofy bit. And finally, Torch comes with a couple of handguns here, just a couple of pistols. These are decent, single moulded piece of plastic with a couple of sculpted details in. They're fine. Again, they're a bit wibbly-wobbly. Look. In fact, one of them, when I pulled it out of the plastic because I was so impatient, I bent a little bit. It's got some stress marks on it. Which one was it? Yeah, this one here. I don't know if you can see that on camera. But these are fine, just good, solid pistols. Not the biggest fan of the grey plastic choice, but it is what it is. And Torch has got a couple of thigh holsters that you can slip those into. So decent, good, solid accessory selection. Definitely a thumbs up. Nice storytelling stuff that enhances your man-child playtime with Torch. Gives you a range of options when it comes to posing, taking photos, displaying him on the shelf, all that good stuff. So I'm a happy chappy when it comes to the accessory selection. It feels, when you engage with it, a little bit thin on the ground, but it's not. There's lots going on there. And the flame effects are a nice touch as well. Although I hear reportedly from my Joe Bros that the flame effects aren't great for use across other figures. I think there was some interest in using it with the bat, and it's not a great fit, so that's one to bear in mind. All right, folks, well, let's take a look at Torch now, next to some other G.I. Joe Classified Series figures. Okay then, folks, well, let's start with the only figure comparison that I certainly cared about. I'm sure many others care about. Here they are, Buzzer, Torch, and Ripper, the trio are there, complete in the collection. And what a shambolic mess of a collection of figures they look. It is fantastic. It's perfect. perfectly shambolic. Look at the state of them. Brilliant. Very happy with that in the collection now. Of course, they're not the only Dreadnoks. Here he is with Zartan and Zarana. Roll on, Xandar. Come on. Need you. Now, son. You know what I mean? And here's Torch with the other latest addition to the Dreadnought lineup in G.I. Joe Classified Series, Norgahide, who I've decked out with some alternative gear because his bow and arrow and his sniper rifle are pants. Okay then folks, well here's Torch making his way round on the turntable so you can get a 360 view of the figure. I had to foot stand him up. He was standing fine in this position on my shelf, but then the act of putting him on the turntable, he kept toppling. Don't know what that's all about, but I think this is a bit wibbly wobbly round here anyway. But in my headcanon, this pose is like, he set fire to a load of dudes and now he's just walking around with his pistol, mercy killing them out of their misery, just assassinating the burnt shards. That's a nice dark image to finish the video on, isn't it? But final thoughts time, everybody. And yeah, really happy to have another Dreadnok in the line, and the pros far outweigh the cons, in my humble opinion, when it comes to Torch. All those little niggly bits that I'm less keen on are not an issue overall, because I think the package is sound, it's solid, it's really, really good, and he looks great in amongst all the other Dreadnoks, and I'm very, very pleased. Can't wait for Road Pig, can't wait for Xandar to really start building that out. We need Zanzibar on the way, and what's her name, Zanya, to make their way into the collection sometime soon. The Heart Wrencher's on the speculated list, or was teased at some point, I believe. So yeah, I would recommend Torch here. If you're looking to flesh out your Dreadnought roster, then you can't do too bad with this guy at all. All right, well, there we go. That brings me to the end. Hopefully, if you've been thinking about picking up a Torch, I've helped you make your decision with the information that I have provided today. If you have found it useful, please make sure you hit the like button down below. And if you're not already subscribed, get yourself subscribed. I've got like an enormous percentage of unsubscribed viewers all the time. And I know you're all coming back because the stats tell me, so I must be doing something right. And if I am, let me know by hitting the subscribe button. And if you didn't like the video, don't forget, make sure you hit dislike twice so that it, to double check to make sure it happens. You know what I mean? All right, well, that's it. I'm done. I've done that thing where I'm finishing the video with his back facing the camera, so we'll end with a look at that yellow gasoline tank. All right, take it easy, folks. Have a great day. I'll see you again soon.